It's time to check your money with America's money maven, Vicki Brackens. Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. Vicki, we got a lot of stuff going on in the economy, in the country this week. Are we going to have a budget shutdown? A government shutdown? I don't know. But there's a lot on the table. And we had the State of the Union this past week. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, George. Okay, thank you for building in a high level of expectation on our conversation today. Yes, because we do. We have a whole lot of things going on, okay, this week and the weeks ahead. But before I get into those things, I want to make sure that I go back and say a few things to our audience, particularly to those individuals who came out, and everybody came out and looked fantastic, even with the snow, who came out to the 17th annual Black History Month Jazz and Arts Cabaret that we had about a week ago. And you look fantastic, Mr. Kilpatrick.
Thank you. Listen, you gave me a build up. You said straight for the motherland, and I had several people come up to me and give me compliments, and they were looking for me because you said that. And one other thing, real quick, Vicky, one of my college friends connected. We got connected there through you. That I mean,
Really?
yes, yes. My best friend's wife was there, and I said, "Well, how you know Vicky?" She said, "Well, we connected at CBT, and I'm doing this thing in Syracuse, and her name is Jackie Grant."
Jackie Grant is your best friend's wife?
Yes,
Oh my God.
he's deceased now, but
Uh-huh.
um, we were all chum. We were all good together. Like she's really a good friend, and so she comes up to me. Do you know who I am? We know who I am. Of course I know who you are, but I haven't seen her in a long time. Like I said, he passed away about 20 years ago,
Okay.
and actually they weren't actually married anymore. But still, it was just that was the easiest way for me to say who she was.
Well, I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad that happened because I love when connections come back together.
Yeah, she and I said I made it that she was a friend. She's actually my friend. I didn't mean to make it like it
Mhm.
was that way, but you know what I mean. Like I didn't want to like,
Well,
oh, because
she's listening to you, so I want you to make sure you clean that up.
that you saw, I got right back to. I was like, well, first of all, Jackie's my friend, and also she happened to marry my best friend, but she's my friend too. So we
Okay.
were all
And,
friends. Like
okay.
we were all part of the same friend group. So Jackie, I might have to stop this recording so we get this right. No,
Exactly. Okay,
that's my
George.
no,
But
that's my
anyway,
daughter.
as I was about to say, I thank everyone for coming out to the 17th annual Black History Month Jazz and Arts Cabaret. We had a fantastic time. We had a fantastic turnout, and the performer was wonderful. We moved to a new venue as far as up into the ballroom with
What
all
do
the
people think of
chandeliers and all
that?
those types of things. Okay, this time, and we had for the first time in a while a real after party because we had the after party this time because we had the space to do so. But I want to remind, well, and so thank you to all of the attendees, and a special thank you to the staff and volunteers from the CNY Jazz Arts and Cabaret Foundation because they were there in full-fledged, okay, ready to make sure that everyone got in, got seated, got fed. Everything went so smoothly, and I'm looking forward again to next year. Speaking of next year, during the concert at our intermission, I reminded everyone that, you know what? I've heard that when we looked at the end of the evening, we had about 65 people who couldn't get in because we were sold out.
Mm,
And we're continually each year having a longer and longer waiting list of individuals who want to come, but we've run out of space.
okay.
So I asked everyone while we were there, and I also asked on Sunday morning last week that if for you to do something very special to give us a heads up on what type of space we need to consider moving to accommodate everyone in the future. So if you have not sent in your pre-registration indicating how many people would be coming with you in 2026, on February 22nd. You need to do that this week because I'm going to close out that pre-registration process on the 9th. Send your information with a selfie. That's the thing. I love those selfies that I got in, George. I'll tell you, all those smiling faces with a selfie to info@brackensfsn.com. That's BRACKENSFSN.com, saying how many people you will be attending, your contact information. There are some people who send in selfies. I'm going to have to ask who these folks are because they didn't put in their contact information. And also let with the message, I'm in for 2026. And I saw you and Gloria. I saw the selfie. Okay. Please make sure you get that in by March 9th because we really want to start planning out next year's event and looking at the proper space so that we can have not have a waiting list anymore, that everyone will have the opportunity to attend. All right, George. Second thing as a way of announcement.
Oh,
For the last, I'd say now 7 weeks, my staff and I, and my research associate there, Mr. Pramod Mali, we have been producing a newsletter on LinkedIn called Eyes on the Week Ahead. Have you subscribed, George?
no.
You need to do so. And we're up to just short of 500 subscribers in the last 5 weeks. So we're picking up about 100 a week. So if you have I'm asking everyone, please
What do you mean
go to your...
subscribe on LinkedIn? Because I'm getting the newsletters, but not that one.
Not that one. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to Eyes on the Week Ahead. What that newsletter does is looks at a very deep analysis of what we anticipate to be some of the major news areas and financial information coming for the next week, to give you a heads up on some of the things you need to consider, a heads up on some strategies that you may need to take. So it's Eyes on the Week Ahead. Go over to LinkedIn and under Vicki's page and be sure and subscribe. And also, of course, like, comment, and share. Okay, with that information. All right, George, here we go. There have been so many things that have happened over the last week. I'm going to concentrate on 2 today, probably 2 more next week. Based on the comments that come in, because every week more things are happening concerning new presidential orders, new changes, etc. But the 2 topics I'm going to concentrate on today are tariffs and disruption in Social Security.
Yeah.
Both which are high, I would call primary items of discussion that we really need to pay some attention to. Let me tell you a story. I'm going to ask you a question here, okay?
Are you asking me or you asking them?
You.
Oh, okay.
They're going to listen to your answers and put themselves in the framework of your answers, okay? So if I came to you and I said, George, you've been working for me for now the last 10 years, and every Friday you normally get your paycheck. But this week, I'm not changing your pay, but we're going to be a little bit late. We're not going to have your paycheck ready until a week from Friday, which means for the next 7 to 10 days, you will be without pay. What's your reaction?
You want which version of George do you want?
I want the real George.
I don't think this is a family show.
On a Sunday too. Okay, so be good. I don't want Pastor calling you.
Okay. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Don't mess with my money.
What? That's the first reaction. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the second thought?
I mean, you better have my money. I mean, I'm just going to, you better have my money. That's
okay.
I'm not playing.
You're not playing. Okay. So don't mess with my money. I'm not playing. But when you start looking at the cascade of thoughts, what things are coming to mind when you know that your check's not coming?
Well, am I going to be able to make my bills?
Are you going to be able to make your bills? What's the next one?
Um, how long is this going to last?
How long is this going to last? Okay. Anything else?
When is it? When am I going to get paid? I mean, yeah,
Okay.
I mean, this is good. I just, it's all about when am I going to get paid?
You're going to get paid. Okay.
What's the impact in my finances? How's it going to impact my finances?
Okay. All right. Then. So it's not just the fact that you are still going to get the same amount of money that you normally would, but the fact that it's not going to be there on time is what's causing the majority of your concern. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And I wanted to go through, thank you for doing that. I wanted to go through this because I wanted to emphasize something called cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have $1 million that you're supposed to get, but it doesn't come on time, you're still not a millionaire, right?
No, no.
You cannot, because the timing of how you receive the money is just as important as receiving the amount of money. If it's not there at the right time, you can't pay your bills, you can't live the life you wanted. Everything is tied together. So what we're seeing, and this is not listen to me here, everybody. It's not a guarantee, but what's starting to unfold is a real concern relative to the disruption in Social Security payments and the timing of those payments. The reason being is that with many of the changes that have happened through the systems of layoffs that are going on, okay, in the federal government, disruptions and of computer systems that are being reconfigured, the system itself is under a extreme amount of strain, and it's been predicted by some of the leading individuals who have worked with the Social Security Administration that there may be a disruption in payment, meaning in the cash flow system, sometime in the next 30 to 90 days. If you knew ahead of time, George, that there was a possibility that you weren't going to get your paycheck on time, what would you do?
You might make you would what do you call it? Well, you would make some different choices, right? Or you
Make some
would,
different choices. Like what?
yeah, you might not spend something that you might delay a purchase. You might you may delay a purchase. You might even maybe you were going to pay more on that credit card. You might have to make a minimum payment this month. So you got to make some decisions based on the current cash flow that you have, not what you anticipate you're going to have.
Okay, or then I'm glad you went to class with me. So you are going to make some strategic decisions concerning what you possibly may need to do in order to weather this storm.
Right.
You've gotten a forewarning that there's this possibility. So because you've gotten the forewarning, it is imperative that you take the time to look at what can I do to weather this storm. That is what my conversation is about today. Because we know that there's this possibility, even if it doesn't happen and you prepare, you are not worse off. But if you don't prepare, you are going to get overrun. So here are the things that you should prepare for. Look at your budgets right now. Those of you particularly who receive Social Security payments, make a decision on what can I do to build up my cash reserve over the next 30 to 90 days? What obligations do I have that I can push forward if necessary? Not saying to skip payments now, but if this happens, what's my plan going to be on how to handle this? But one of the most important things is making sure that you start building cash reserve. Who was it, Joe? You had to help me here because Pastor, I'm sure, is going to call me. Was it Joseph who had to put the grain in the storehouse? Is that right?
Hey, baby, go ahead. Whatever you think.
Okay. I'm telling you right now, you got to put the grain in the storehouse to be sure that if there is a drought, if as far as the cash flow structure over the summer, particularly over this next 30 to 90 days, that you have cash reserves to move forward. If you can delay some things in order to take the time to save monies, then you should do so. If you can partner with family members, what I mean by partnering with family members on purchases so that you're getting bulk purchases at less and spending less money, do so. But stop and think, what can I do in case of emergency and a disruption in cash flow?
And by the way, it was Joseph, just so.
Thank you. Oh, good. Those Sunday Bible schools get classes worked.
Okay.
Let my grandmother know. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. All right.
All right. Okay. Okay. The second thing that you've heard a lot of information about or conversation about is something called tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
Tariffs. Do you understand what a tariff is, George? Tell me what you
I mean,
understand
basically, I'm going to, in my words, it's like a tax on imported goods.
the tax. But why would we want to tax imported goods?
Because that would make them more expensive to us here. And then that would mean that we would mostly buy stuff. The theory is then it would make me buy stuff that was made in America. That's a theory.
That's a theory. Okay.
A theory.
Okay. So it's about competitiveness.
Right.
All right.
Making those products more expensive technically.
Okay, Arthur. So when we look at the issue of tariffs, what the economic theory is basically if we have two producers, one which is within the country, let's say Vicky's producing biscuits.
Right.
Here. Okay.
I was gonna say shoes.
Okay, shoes. Okay, I like shoes. Vicky's producing shoes. And those shoes cost $1 here in the United States because
Right.
I'm here and
Right.
all of my workers are here and all those types of things. And George is in China
Mm-hmm.
and he's producing shoes that cost 50 cents. What's the natural inclination of a consumer when they go to the store, when they go to Marshall's and they see one for $1 and one for 50 cents? What's the natural inclination?
If they're the same shoe, they're gonna get the one for 50 cents.
They can get the one for 50 cents, okay? But if I am in a position and I want to encourage consumers to buy my things as far as the government is concerned that are here in this country, I have to equalize the cost. So I'm going to add a VIG. I'm going to add a surcharge onto the one coming in from China so that the prices are equal. And now the inclination is, well, maybe I will buy, at least I have a better reason for buying the Vicki shoe that was produced in the United States versus George's shoe that was produced in China. Does it work like that?
No.
What happens really, George?
I end up paying a higher price, period. And yes, I end up paying more because the tariff or the surcharge is going to be passed on to me as a consumer.
Okay, so but what happens is this, you're correct. If I have been purchasing George's shoe for the last 5 years,
Right.
and it fits into my budget at 50 cents,
Right.
and I still need shoes, and suddenly now I have to buy shoes at $1, then my cost of living has now gone up by 50%.
Yeah.
Okay. So even though it's not a direct tax where I got a tax bill, what's happened is my cost of living has increased because of the tariff. And so now the other things that I have to do in my life are also going to become possibly under strain because I have to spend more for shoes. Well, if I look at, and if it were only shoes or a few items that this tariff applied to, but when you start thinking about consumer products, the 3 largest imports that come into this country are from China, Mexico, and Canada. And the levels of products, if you got a list of the level of products that come in from those countries that come into this country, and you now think that all of those are going to be more expensive, that increase in expense has been calculated to be somewhere an increase per household of somewhere around $2,500 to $3,000 a year if you bought the same thing that you bought the year before. So now I just told you try and trim expenses, yet everything that you did before, you didn't change your life as far as what you were buying, now costs more. How is this going to work? How is this going to work as far as your lifestyle being easier? So you've noticed, I'm sure, that when the tariffs were announced, that the first thing that was said is that more than likely we're going to have levels of productivity as far as companies are concerned start to decrease because the raw materials that the company needs will cost more. And if it's going to cost more, then they have less money as far as profit margins are concerned, and they may have to lay off people. This is a process where everything, how many times have we said it, George? Everything is connected. So the issues of tariffs are going to be something that will filter through the system throughout from top to bottom. And some of the states, I was really surprised. Some of the states most impacted by tariffs are some of the southwestern states. But then I thought about it, they're right there on the Mexico border.
And also the
yes,
states up north, Maine, Michigan.
exactly. Okay, because they're right there on the Canadian border. Okay. New York wasn't the highest on the list. I was surprised. Okay, we're like a mid list as far as impact. But no matter what, everybody across the board will be impacted by this.
And the tariffs on the cars, for example, were paused for a month because what they realized, it's just funny, what they realized is that because of the way they manufacture, especially like if you look at what Detroit is, it was back and forth, right? Yes. And so it didn't make sense, so they paused it for a month.
Okay, so you're going to hear the term trade war.
Yeah.
Because free trade and having that back and forth flow, which has been built into the systems of many countries as far as import exports, was working quite well.
Right.
But now, okay, with it's almost like I'm going to charge you 10 cents more, and you're going to charge me 10 cents more. Now I'm going to charge you 20 cents more, and you're going to charge me. The escalation and the creation of inflation now becomes another issue in that interconnected structure as far as the economy is concerned. So what do you do? What do you do? Okay. Primarily, you start calling your congressman. Okay. First of all, to talk about the fact that they need to have some serious conversations on the congressional floors about not getting into a trade war. Secondly, pay attention to sales. Because when you can pick up sales, you should. Okay. I almost felt like, and I know a lot of people are going to laugh, not laugh, but kind of look at this strangely. But when we have sales, remember when we had sales during COVID?
Right.
Do you know I'm just finishing my disinfectant from COVID?
I still have some.
Anytime they had sales, it was like, so again, we may want to start getting back into that purchasing process.
Purchasing now.
Look, okay, so that we have things stockpiled. Okay?
I bought 2 dozen eggs the other day. It was $12. $12.
I'll talk about eggs next week.
Okay.
Okay.
$12. Anyway.
Right. But purchasing
so I ain't
gonna
be stocking up on no eggs.
Okay. All right. Okay. But the issues of tariffs and the disruption of the Social Security payments are going to be financial issues that we will have to contend with over the next several months. The stock market basically said, no, this does not make sense. You can see what happened, okay, as far as the sell-off is concerned.
But Vicki,
yeah,
this was said way when it was talked about back in the campaign.
Yes.
This is what's happening is not anything new. They said
no, it's not anything that was not said.
That wasn't said. It was said. The economic institutes, even the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, all of the people said this. The Wall Street Journal just came out with an editorial talking about how, and I'm using their quotes, how dumb this was.
Yes.
And so This isn't anything that we didn't anticipate, and we're getting exactly
What we voted for.
what we voted for, and what everyone said would happen, and it's happening.
It's happening. Okay. So, okay. But you do have a few things that you can do for preparation, not necessarily forward-thinking preparation. I guess I could call this more of defensive preparation.
Okay.
Okay. At this point in time. All right, George. Well, I think at this point in time, I'm going to stop because if I add any more layers, okay, it'll start to get confusing. But we'll talk about a couple of more of the economic issues that have been talked about and predicted and that we are now facing, and some strategies on a defensive basis that if you didn't prepare, things that you can do going forward. Please like and share this, okay, on YouTube and not Instagram, YouTube and Facebook. Make sure that you go into LinkedIn and subscribe to Eyes on the Week Ahead. And at this point in time, George, I will say our plate is definitely full.
Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of LPL Financial, member SIPC. She is America's money maven.